Welcome to another interesting tutorial. As you can see here, I have folded my fabric into 4. Okay, so we are making this beautiful style you see displayed on the screen. After folding it into 4, I am here inserting my shoulder line, so this will serve as my shoulder line. And now I'll be marking out my back neck. My back neck width is 3 inches. I've marked 3 here. Then I'll place the tape this way and mark out 1 inch for the back neck depth. Okay, neck depth 1 inch, neck width 3 inches. So I'm now linking. Can you see? So I have marked out my back neck beautifully. The next thing I want to do is to insert my shoulder width. So the shoulder width for this pattern is 14 inches. So I'm dividing 14 by 2, which is 7 inches. I'm now placing the 7 this way and I have marked beautifully. Okay, I hope you can see what I'm marking. Now the next thing to do is to insert the length of my sleeve. Okay, so you have to determine the length of your sleeve. For mine, I'm working with 11 inches sleeve length. So from this shoulder point, I'm simply marking the 11 inches. Remember, it's a cut together sleeve, so we'll cut it together at once. So having marked that, the next thing I want to do is to insert the width of the neck, the sleeve. Okay, the width of the width of the sleeve. You also should determine it for yourself. For me, I'm marking a sleeve width of about 14 inches too, so I have marked 7 inches there. 14 divided by 2, 7. So I have marked 7. I have linked beautifully. So having done that, the next thing I want to do is to insert my bust circumference measurement on that area. But before then, I'll go ahead and mark my shoulder to bust or shoulder to chest line. Okay, I'm just doing shoulder to bust, which is 10 inches. Okay, so I have marked shoulder to bust, and now on the bust line I'm inserting the bust circumference divided by 4, which is 9.5 for this person I'm sewing for, and I'm adding ease of 2 inches on that area. You can add more ease if you wish, but not too much. Okay, for this style I added 2 inches ease. Can you see? After adding the ease, I have linked beautifully to the sleeve width. The next thing is to mark out my waistline. Shoulder to waistline 17 I have marked out, and I will be inserting the waist circumference measurement there. I want it to be a little shapy. Waist circumference 32, I've marked 8, and I am adding 2 inches also for ease, and I am linking back also the same way. Can you see? So this is it. So this is just done to give it that beautiful feminine shape. You can decide to go straight from your bust line area without shaping out the waistline. Okay, but for me, I just want that feminine shape. Now from the waistline, you insert your waist to hip measurements, which in this case is 10 inches. So I'm simply marking out waist to hip to get my hip line. Okay, can you see? So I have my hip line, and here I'm inserting hip circumference divided by 4, which is 40. 40 divided by 4 gives 10, and then I am adding the ease of 2 inches. Okay, can you see? For the hip area, I added 2.5 and I have linked nicely. Now I'll go ahead and mark out my hemline. Okay, so shoulder to hemline, depending on what you want. For me, I'm just doing 37 inches. Okay, so shoulder to hem, that's what I'm trying to mark for the client specifically, because this is not mine. Okay, so I'm trying to straighten out my fabric. So I have marked the 37 inches. Can you see? So the client wants it to be 37. I've added extra 1.5 inch for the sewing allowance to finish up the hemline, right? Now the hip circumference measurement, I'm taking it down exactly the way it is. Okay, 10 plus 2.5 is 12.5. I have marked and I have linked it back to the hip area. So can you see our beautiful shape? This is what I'll be cutting out. Now I am adding sewing allowance of 1/2 inch, which I will use to sew. Mind you, the 2 inches I was adding was just for ease, okay? The ease is the difference between your actual body and your fabric. So this is a shift dress, so it needs at least 2 inches ease. Now this is our sewing allowance I am marking, not ease allowance, okay? So I have marked for the shoulder area too. When you are doing yours, mark your shoulder line a little more below so that you have your sewing allowance. So I'll just manage what I have here, okay? Since I've already made the mistake of bringing it up, I'll work with it this way. Now we are done, but before we cut out, we'll also have to adjust our front neckline. As you already know, this pattern has been folded 4 times. That means we are cutting out both back and front at once together, okay? So we need to adjust the front neckline because the front neckline will not be like the back neckline. So let's go ahead and do that adjustment. So what I'm simply doing here, I'm marking 9 inches from the shoulder line. Can you see? So I place the tape on the shoulder line and marked 9 inches. Then I'll go in by 2 inches. Can you see? I've also done that. And I'll link it back to the neck point. Sorry, that part wasn't really showing. The neck point area, okay? But when I open up, you understand what I just did. So after doing this, I'll cut out the pattern, okay? I'll cut out the entire pattern before I'll separate the back from the front and cut out the front neckline. Now we are done cutting out, and here is what we've got. Okay, so I'll be cutting out the back neckline now. Can you see? So I've cut out the back neckline and I'm following the shoulder, trying to slope it down a little. So I've also cut out the shoulder, okay? Now I'll separate the back from the front because for now both back and front are carrying the same neck line, right? So can you see? Look at what I was talking about. So I'm separating one pattern now. This part will serve as our back, our original back. So go ahead and do the adjustments for the part we've already marked the front neckline, right? So let's keep this aside and proceed to cutting out the front neckline. So as you can see here is our front neckline already marked out, okay? So we'll be cutting it out now. Remember how we got this? From shoulder, we measured 9 inches down and we went in by 2 inches on that point to link back to the neck point. Can you see? So we have also cut out the front neckline. So after cutting out, it's important to indicate the midpoint. So can you see what I'm doing? I'm placing notches on the midpoint, on the neckline area and on the hemline area. So I am done doing that so that we'll be able to know our midpoint when we want to design this front. So here I've opened up the front neckline. Now the next thing we need to do is to cut out our neck band. But before we do that, we need to align the front and back necklines together. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm lapping the front on the back by about ½ inch because I'll be sewing with ½ inch of allowance. Okay, so after placing it this way, I'll go ahead and measure all around. Okay, all around this neckline. Just watch what I'm doing. Just watch me. You know the back neckline is a little bit curvy, so I'm just following that curve, placing my tip accordingly, right? So we have 27.5, but we can cut out 29, okay? We'll be cutting out 29. Any excess we have, we'll be cutting it off. So the major thing is for the neckband to be able to go around the neckline. And here I have cut out the band. Can you see? 19 inches length by 5 inches width. So I'll be placing it aside and then we'll talk about the front band. There's also a band in front after the neckline, okay? From here to the hem. So I'll be measuring what we'll be getting there so I can also cut out. So measuring it down, I've gotten 30.5 inches. So we'll also cut out the band 30.5 inches length by 5 inches width. Because from here to here is 4 inches. When I cut out 5 inches, I'll be using half an inch to finish both sides, right? So that's why I'll be cutting out 5 inches width. Now here we are. We are also done cutting out this band, and it is 5 inches by 31 inches in length. So we'll be folding in the sides this way by half an inch to finish up. Okay, but before we go into that, let's go over to the machine and start sewing. So now I want to join the back and front. Okay, I'll be joining back and front from the shoulder area first. So look at me aligning the shoulders together of the back and front. At this point, I'm ensuring right side is facing inside and the wrong sides are facing outside. Okay, so I'm simply sewing. I sew a back stitch to ensure that my stitches are safe. Okay. So I'm repeating the same thing on the other shoulder. When I'm done, you see the outcome. So I'm done. I've opened it up, and this is what our neckline looks like. Now, here is our neckband. Okay, by the time we are done fixing, this is how it will be appearing. But before we go ahead and fix this band, let's fix our center band first. Okay, the band on the center front. It's very easy to fix, but I want you to just watch me. Focus, especially if you are a beginner. Okay. So first of all, I'll sew on this line. When you are making yours, you can go ahead and insert lines, straight lines, with your ruler and your fabric pen or chalk. Okay, mind you, this is the right side of the fabric, so you need to be very careful. So I'm just placing the band there straight, and I'm sewing on one side with half an inch. Can you see? So the wrong side of the band is facing outside right now. Okay, while the right side of the band is facing the right side of the fabric, as I'm sewing and fixing it on one side. Okay, so I'll just follow this process and sew till I'll get to the end. So here, as you can see, I'm at the end. So I'll be bringing it out so that we can continue fixing it on the other side. Okay. At this point, go ahead, go to your ironing table and iron it nicely. Press it to be smooth enough. Okay, before you continue sewing. So you can also fold the half an inch in, press it to stay nicely, so that by the time you are top stitching on this side, we'll be doing top stitching. Okay, it will come out very neat, right? And as you are top stitch very close to the end of the black fabric. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. At the same time, I'm also arranging. Okay, I'm arranging because I did not iron. Because of this video, I just want to show you. Okay, I do not want the video to be too lengthy. But when you are doing yours, ensure to fold and press nicely so that you do not need to be arranging as I'm arranging this way. Okay, so I'll follow this procedure and sew till I'll get to the end also. And here I'm also at the end. Can you see? So I've reached the end. I'll open up, cut out the excess threads. Okay, the hanging threads. That's what you see me doing. It's very important for neat finishing. So after that, this is what we are having. Can you see? We are now left with fixing of the neck band. This is so beautiful. Please note that before you enter this procedure, okay, just like I have done. You have to join only the back and front shoulders. You do not need to join the sides for the back and front first, okay, so that you can freely work with your front pattern separately and also work on your neck band. So it's time to fix our neck band. So I'm notching. Can you see? Just notch exactly at this point, this kind of this square points of the neckline. Can you see? Just notch small, not too much, about half an inch notch is okay. So it's very important. After notching, we'll start fixing the band. So as you can see, I folded the band into two, so I'm having 2.5 inches and I've ironed flat too. So after that, I'm aligning it this way to sew. Okay, can you see? So I'll just place it like this and then sew all around. So I'm sewing. I'll just sew until I go around to the other part of the neckline. And here I'm simply done. Okay, so I'm cutting off the thread. Now let me open it up so you see. Can you see? So this is what we've got, and here is our excess. We'll be lapping it together. You can now see the essence of that knot we gave earlier. Just hold it together like this. Can you see? We are lapping the two bands together. Okay, on this point. So I think we should take that again so you understand better. Okay, let me reinforce the notch. The notch wasn't deep enough. Okay, so I'm simply reinforcing it. When you are doing this, please be very careful not to over clip it. Okay, so after that, this is what you do. You turn it over like this, hold it on to the center band, and then lap this other band, neck band also on it, all held together. Okay, so as you can see, we are having the excess here, so we need to cut off the excess. If you can remember, we measured 17.5 but we cut out 19, so this is the 1.5 excess and I'm cutting it off. I've cut it off and we are still here. Okay, so we just overlap them on each other on the neckline area this way, and then we'll just go over to the machine and sew everything together. Okay, so this is it. Let's take it again. This aligned to the center, and then we bring this other band lapped on it and on the center at the same time. Can you see? So we'll now go over to the machine and sew from one clipped point to the other. Okay, in other words, from one notch to the other. So that's what we want to sew. So I'm done sewing. And let me open up so you can see what we just did. Can you see? Can you see how neat it is? So go ahead and also still press nicely, okay, so that it comes out even neater. Okay, so we are done with our neckline and our front band. We are done. It is beautifully finished. So the next thing you want to do is to trim off any excess we have and then weave the inner part. But before then, we'll be joining the two sides. So this is it. I have pressed nicely, as you can see here. So everywhere is neat, everywhere is neatly finished. Let's now go over and turn it over and start joining these sides. Okay, so we'll be sewing on the wrong side. Okay, it's very easy. You will also still come back and finish our band after sewing the sides. We'll finish our sleeve band. Okay, and here we have a finished dress on our mannequin. So our mannequin is our model wearing the dress now. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial.